Greentoba is a multimedia initiative highlighting energy-efficient technologies for Manitoba's diverse communities, including newcomers and refugees. By addressing barriers such as availability and awareness, it aims to educate and expand the market for these technologies. My name is Ryan Funk. Join me as we explore efficient technologies and programs here in Manitoba with Greentoba.
I'm Norman Garcia. So our company provides energy evaluation services to homeowners so that they can access federal and provincial programs for home energy retrofits that reduce energy consumptions and greenhouse gas emissions. So big picture, why are we doing this? And I thank you for inviting me to push this advocacy. So big picture, in 2015, Canada committed to the Paris Agreement. So the goal of this agreement, which is about more than 190 countries sign up. And purpose of this agreement is to keep the rise in mean global temperature to well below 2 Celsius, above pre-industrial levels, and pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 Celsius above pre-industrial levels. So, well, to achieve those goals, which is to limit the global warming to 1.5 Celsius, the greenhouse gas emission must peak before 2025, so which is roughly 2 years from now. And that's the latest, right? So we are really on the tight deadline, and decreased further to 43% by 2030, which is 7 years from now. So
Yeah, we're really closing in on
we're
those
really
timelines
close.
now.
Yeah. Okay. So the Paris Agreement is a landmark in a multilateral climate change process, because for the very first time, it's a binding agreement. All nations together to combat climate change and adapt to its effects. Okay, so that's a big picture. So let's go here in Canada. So
Yeah, let's bring it down a little bit. Let's see
yeah,
what we can do on the
well,
macro level.
that's correct. So Canada's response to our commitment to the Paris Agreement. So we have the Pan-Canadian Framework on Clean Growth and Climate Change. So this is the Canada's plan, and it's developed with the provinces and territories, and in consultation with the indigenous peoples, to meet our emission reduction targets and grow the economy and build resilience to changing climate. So this plan includes a pan-Canadian approach to pricing carbon pollution and measures to achieve reductions across all sectors of the economy. So as you know, we have different sectors: transportation, agriculture, education, and building is just one of them. So this is where we our sector comes in, building. So why building? So on a global scale, residential, particularly residential, it contributes about 17% of total global energy-related CO2 emissions.
Wow.
Yeah, that's big. So the climate pollution from buildings, where they come from? It comes from burning of fossil fuels to heat our home, cooling, and domestic water needs. And of course, there are other small loads like plug loads, like to run our computer, but those are connected to the grid. The bulk is to heat, cool, and for our domestic water.
And
That's
I think most of us can see that related in our energy bills each year, right? When winter hits, all of a sudden we start seeing our energy bills start to go up.
That's correct. And you mentioned about the bills. If you look at our Manitoba Hydro bill, there's a line item there, carbon tax, and it's one of the measures Canada is Manitoba. So, and by law, it will keep increasing. So right now, natural gas is priced competitively as compared to electricity, but with the addition of the carbon tax, so it will take years, maybe a couple of years from now, for natural gas and electricity to almost be comparable. So that's the intent of the carbon tax. Federally, so the government of Canada is helping homeowners save money by making their homes energy efficient. Okay. So in May 2021, the government of Canada launched the 5600 Canada Greener Homes Grant to help 700,000 Canadian homeowners lower their energy costs. And the following year, in 2022, the government then launched the Canada Greener Homes Loan. So on top of that 5,600, they're also launched the interest-free loans of up to $40,000. And it's payable in 10 years. So together with that grant plus the loan, it makes up the Canada Greener Homes Initiative. So that's on the federal level. Provincially, here in Manitoba, so we have the Efficiency Manitoba's home energy retrofits, which homeowners can receive rebates of 75 to $150 per gigajoules save as a result of multi-energy saving upgrades that result in substantial electricity and or natural gas savings. So often called deep energy retrofits. So just to explain what a gigajoule means. So a gigajoule is a unit of energy, and it's approximately equal to standard barbecue propane tanks or 30 liters of car gasoline. So for example, if a house has an energy rating of 100 gigajoules, if that house would be heated, cooled, and heat its water just using propane barbecue tanks, it would need about 200 tanks of propane a year.
So that really breaks down the amount of energy it takes to.
That's correct. And that, based on my experience, that 100 gigajoules of energy rating, that's typical of our current house in stock here in Winnipeg. And this programs will deliver up to 1.5 megatons in emissions reduction annually by 2026. And it is expected to generate over 100,000 direct and indirect jobs across Canada. Why? Because if you're going to insulate our homes, buy new
You need
heating
people to
system,
do
you
it,
need
right?
people to do it, and it gives jobs. So, and it's hoping to replace the quote unquote dirty jobs which are tied into a fossil fuel industry. And so it's also intended to deliver 436,000 direct jobs from energy efficiency sector accounted for in 2018.
Wow.
So all in all, yeah. So in order to quantify these measures, this is where the role of energy advisors comes in. So energy
Yeah, that's what I was
advisors,
going to
yeah.
ask. What does that energy evaluation process looks like? What are you looking for? What sort of suggestions are you giving people?
I'll walk you through in the energy evaluation process. The programs that I've mentioned earlier require participants to have an Energuide evaluation performed in their home. And so the role of the energy advisor is to identify and recommend upgrades to maximize energy saving, home comfort, indoor air quality, and resilience. So all sources of funding and financing can be stacked. So federal plus provincial can be stacked to lower the upfront cost of the retrofit project. During the energy evaluation process, the energy advisor takes pictures from the outside the home, the mechanical system, which I'm referring to furnace, hot water tank. We also look at the attic space and any wood burning appliances, and we collect data about all the elements that impact the energy performance. So we're not looking at the cosmetic like type of flooring. So we look at the house components that directly impact energy use, like insulation, what's the efficiency of the equipment.
Would windows also fall within there?
Of course, and windows and doors. Yeah, because technically window is it's a hole in the house.
Yeah, it's a
So
whole
yeah,
end because I know if every once in a while you'll go to a house and like in summer sometimes you'll feel and you can just feel the heat coming through there, or vice versa in winter you can just feel the cold coming straight through those windows. So I can see that's why it's important to have efficient windows to kind of retain that kind of equilibrium within your home.
that's correct. Yeah. So that on-site energy evaluation will depend on the size of nature of the house, but it can take about up to 3 hours. Let's say typical 2,000 square feet house, one story with finished basement. So the energy evaluation process usually start from the exterior and continues inside the home. So yeah, so we collect information such as level of the home's air tightness using a blower door test. So we bring this big fan, red fan, so we attach it to a door, and we technically we measure how tight or leaky the house is. And of course, we look at the insulation levels of the walls, ceiling, and the basement. And we look at the size and efficiency rating of the space heating, furnace or boiler, space cooling or air conditioning, and water heating equipment. And you mentioned earlier, we also look at the number and type and location of all windows and exterior doors. And we also collect information on the ventilation equipment, like are the washroom ventilated, things like that, and any other information relevant to the home energy performance. So after those data collection, we go back to our office. The energy advisor enters all those data collected into a energy modeling software called HOT 2000, in which we generate a report. Our report, the label, it tells what's the energy rating of the house in terms of gigajoules. And we also give them the homeowner information sheet, like it gives like a summary of the house. What's the insulation value of the walls, basement, efficiency of the equipment. And the third report, which is the most important, is the renovation upgrade report. This is where we give our recommendation. We tell in the report how much the insulation, the walls need to be insulated, how thick insulation, and what type of heating equipment needs to be replaced.
What does a high-end evaluation, like a very efficient home, look like? What does that evaluation look like versus a very low or inefficient home?
Well, the goal is to bring the energy rating to zero. So that's why we keep hearing net zero, right? So what we mean by net zero, it means the house, the energy consumption of the house is so low, and it generates its own. It is being matched by the by the energy it generates from renewable sources.
So
Yeah.
whether that's like solar panels
Solar,
or potentially geothermal in certain locations.
that's correct. Yeah. So we have different technologies, which I'm gonna mention shortly.
Yeah, of
So yeah.
course.
So yeah, the goal is to bring it to zero. So that's what is meant by net zero. So yeah.
Like efficient windows, efficient doors, adequate insulation means that you're not losing either the cooling or the heating inside of the building. So you're not constantly having to use energy to keep it at those levels.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. So
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
And net zero home means it's so efficient that it doesn't need to have a big heating equipment to meet its energy demand.
Technologies, I guess, why is it important to have energy efficient technology in our homes? And when we're looking at that technology to improve it, what sort of things are better?
So let's talk about the pros of having those energy efficient technology, and what kind of technology is better. So let's discuss for each house component. So let's start with the insulation. So typically insulations are found in the attic, cathedral ceiling, flat roof, exterior wall, exposed floor, which is the floor above unconditioned space, the basement, and crawl space in some older homes. So it's important to use insulation materials with low embodied carbon. Embodied carbon means that amount of carbon generated when that material is produced from the
So you
plant.
don't want a material that is creating a ton of CO2 and carbon emissions just to make it.
And people have misconception that, like, for example, I'm gonna call out spray foam insulation. Yeah, it does the work, but the amount of energy, the amount of carbon to produce spray foam insulation is so big, and the embodied carbon is so high. So what we are pushing is to use low embodied carbon insulation, such as a cellulose insulation. It's a type of insulation made from recycled paper. So yeah, and and we typically avoid insulation materials with high embodied carbon, such as spray foam insulation. So, plus the issue with spray foam insulation, it's only as good in the first few years. Most people don't know that insulation value of a spray foam, they deteriorate over time because it off gas, so it becomes thinner in the long run. So if you look at the old homes with spray foam, you like
Yeah, it
yeah,
slowly compresses as that air
compressor,
and stuff
yeah,
leaves.
that's correct.
So then you'd have to do it again, and you're just kind of adding onto your carbon footprint
That's
then.
correct. So yeah, so just use low carbon, like yeah, cellulose insulation. Now, for the air sealing improves the air tightness of your home to achieve the air change rate target. There are many in the most of the big box stores here. They have different air sealing materials that you can find, which any homeowner can do it themselves. Now, and you mentioned earlier about windows and doors.
There we go.
Yeah, so make sure they are Energy Star certified. When you have them first installed in your house, it comes with a label. And here in Manitoba, they're usually triple panes with special coatings. And also another technology is the use of smart thermostat. And smart thermostat allows homeowner to set a schedule that changes the temperature in your home depending on the time of the day. Let's say you're leaving a house for grocery or for work, you don't need to heat up your home
Or you go on vacation
or
or
go on
something like that.
vacation. So you can, yeah, lower it by at least 2 Celsius. So this way, you can have one energy saving setting for when your family is away at school or work, and another more comfortable setting for when everybody's home. Now, and to tackle the biggest energy load in the house, space heating. The federal and provincial, they give rebates on heat pump. So heat pump is a new technology. Well, actually, it's not new. It's been around for 15 or 20 years, but it's not. It's only been in recent years getting attention because of the rebates. So heat pump is an equipment that is using energy in the environment, such as air or ground. So you mentioned earlier ground, and it transferred that heat to be used for heating or cooling purposes. So since a heat pump transfers thermal energy, like versus a gas furnace or an electrical baseboard, which converts other sources of energy to thermal energy. So heat pumps offers a higher energy efficiency, and so it potentially saving on energy costs and reducing your carbon footprint. So let me explain it. Let's say air conditioning. So air conditioning equipment is technically a heat pump. So during summer, it takes heat inside the homes and throws it outside. So that's why inside the home becomes cooler. So the heat pump does both in both directions. Heat
Both.
pump can both do the heat.
It can pull the hot air out or it can pull the cold air out.
That's correct. So yeah, so that's the amazing feature of the heat pump. And of course, last but not the least, in order for a home to achieve net zero, um, we need renewable source of energy. So the most popular is solar photovoltaic system to convert sunlight energy into electricity. Yeah, so whether it's tied into the grid or off grid. So yeah, and Manitoba Hydro, if a home is tied, has a solar panel, it can apply Manitoba Hydro for net metering.
It's a lot of things. It's a good thing we have people like you that can help walk us through the process of these technologies.
So that's part of our advocacy.
When we're looking at different environments around the world, different houses are built up to different standards based on the environment. You know, for your background, coming from the Philippines, houses are built differently than they are here. For immigrants coming here to Canada, what are some things they should be paying attention to when they're coming here into their new homes, where like here in Canada, we get both extreme heat and extreme cold?
Well, yeah, being an immigrant myself, when I arrived here in Canada, one of the first thing that I realized is our world is really interconnected. and what's happening in our respective home countries have impact to where we are right now. On the other hand, what we do here in Canada have impact to our respective homes. So we are really interconnected. So this is what we call the butterfly effect. So it doesn't mean we immigrated here in Canada, doesn't mean we forget the impacts, doesn't mean we cannot do things to better our planet. So we can start on things we have control of, which is our home. And the total housing stock of Winnipeg is about 280,000 homes. And with the influx of immigration, that's where the role of the immigrants really come into play in this fight against climate change. So if we simply do this resilience climate change measures in our home, we can really contribute to this fight against climate change. So that's why we're really pushing for these programs. I'm advocating. I'm spreading this federal and provincial programs to immigrants and newcomers. And hey, yeah, this is really something you can do. We have different federal and provincial programs that's out there. All you need is go to their website and see how you can be part of this climate change advocacy.
This project was developed in partnership with Efficiency Manitoba. Find out more from industry experts and community advocates at u-channel.ca/Greentoba.